are here today at M&A TV. I'm here with Selig Sachs. He is the co-chair of the U.S.-China division for Foley and a noted M&A attorney in his own right. Selig, thank you for being here today.
Paula, it's nice to be here.
Great, thank you. I would just like to talk to you a little bit about the best practices of the deal practitioners and M&A professionals you have worked with and observed in your career. One area we are focusing on right now is the area of negotiation. Can you tell me what sort of a skill set and background do you think make up the best negotiation skills?
I think it's familiarity with the subject matter, or even if you are, as I have been historically, a generalist private equity lawyer, just understanding what aspects of a particular industry you would need to understand to be able to be sensitive to where the risk allocation, what the other side and your side should be correctly focusing on. So I think one of the most important aspects of any negotiation is prioritizing. Really understanding what are the key issues that you need to deal with, and also to understand what will have the most lead time. It's one thing to have a negotiation where you and I can control what the subject matters are. It's another thing where you have lead time in terms of regulatory or other approvals. So the most important thing is to understand, I think, going in, what are those issues that are within your control? What are those issues that you need third party? And then, of course, if there's overhanging litigation that you're going to have to, from a business perspective, understand and try to quantify, again, for risk allocation or price determination, that too has to be understood as well. So the first thing I think is to understand what are the issues and what third-party consents you may require as well. And then, of course, if you're doing cross-border M&A as well, then you have the whole issue of cultural layers that interpose themselves as well.
Do you see common mistakes being made in M&A transactions in your experience? And if so, can you give me some examples?
I think the dynamics among the parties is something that people have had best understand at an earlier point in time. There are some cultures where you really just kind of layer on coming to an understanding. And I think probably the best negotiations I know is when the private equity sponsor or the company making the acquisition, particularly if management is going to be continuing on, spend a lot of time with their counterparts in the leading up to the formal negotiation itself, so that they really have thought through all the salient issues that may come up, and where they've given some time also to think about post-merger integration as well, so that they really have a game plan not only to complete the acquisition process, but to go from there and use that as a starting block to build the business to the next level. So I think sometimes if people go into the negotiations without having really thought through some of those issues, I think it really could make for awkward moments afterwards. Because what you don't want to have in a negotiation is that you go at a particular pace and you think you're narrowing issues, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up with a gating issue which really kind of puts the chemistry and puts the whole relationship at bit at odds as to the momentum that you've been developing up to that point in time.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk about this with me today.
Paula, real pleasure.
Thank you, Selig.